how to find the perfect home. I'm sure you wondered what are the steps before getting into the contract, paying, signing the agreement, offers, and all that. Many stories we heard that people choose the different approach and trying to find a home by themselves. Sure, that works. Find something, but then contact the agent. You may think that you don't need an agent, but keep in mind that those agents, including us, we have access to different portals, websites, network that we can negotiate the price, purchase price, and all other contingencies much better than a regular person. I'm not saying you cannot do it, but you may be able to get much better terms by hiring an agent. And also keep in mind, you as a buyer, you are not paying the agent. Agent has to negotiate for his fee with the seller's agent. So if that agent is not capable enough to negotiate his fee, then maybe you should not hire that agent at all. However, there are 6 different steps that you're going to go through today. In one of those steps, I'm going to show you the buyer representation agreement, something that is completely mandatory if you want to work with the agent. It basically protects you and an agent so he can get paid. And also one step, I think the last step, is going to be a virtual home tour where we're going to open the Zillow or a website and we're going to show you one of the properties that we really like, and I believe it's located in Arlington, Virginia. And it has really high price tag. Okay, so what is the first step? First step is definitely to be realistic with your goals. Like, what is your budget, right? Where do you want to live? Do you have preferred location? Let's talk about Virginia, right? Do you have to be close to the metro, public transportation, or you're planning to drive everywhere? What type of schools do you prefer? Do you have a kids? Are you planning to have a kids? Also, the job. Are you working for the federal government? Then maybe you should consider Arlington or something closer to DC. Or you're completely okay with working remotely and you can go further to Ashburn and Loudoun County. So that's definitely the first and most important step, is to be realistic with your goals. From there, we're going to go to the next step, and basically, what are the hidden expenses when you are purchasing a home or planning a move? Nobody really talks about this, but I'm sure that you moved multiple times, maybe from one rental to another rental, or maybe you purchased a home in the past. So there are a lot of hidden costs that are influencing all that. One of those costs are for sure moving, right? Or especially if you're relocating from different state or different country, that can be really, really expensive. It's not just go on a Zillow and see how much you can afford, do some calculations and all that. You can maybe see a number you have. Okay, for 20% down, I need $50K and that's it. But maybe add more on that amount. Add for, if you're selling your home and you're buying a new one, you may want to fix something in the previous home so you can get much better offer. So add maybe 25-30% on your budget just in case. Many people don't do that. And then they get caught in a situation and they can't really afford the new home because they have so much expenses for relocation. And that can be a problem. So keep in mind, there are a lot of hidden costs when you're planning to purchase the home. For the next step, as I mentioned at the beginning, you may need an agent. You may not, you may. We are strongly suggesting to have one, us or someone else. It doesn't really matter. You'll be very, very happy to work with you. But keep in mind as well, and I'm saying this again, you're not the one that's paying the agent. You make the agreement between you and your agent, and that calls the buyer representation agreement. And that agreement states how much your agent is going to get paid. 2%, 2.5%, 3%. Then, when you're ready to send the offer for the property, that agent has to negotiate his fee based on the buyer representation agreement you guys sign, so he can get paid. I'll give you an example. If you sign your representation agreement with your agent, and that representation agreement shows 3% commission for your agent, okay? And then that agent goes and you guys send the offer, and the offer says 3%. Basically, we are asking a seller for them to pay your agent 3% commission, okay? That seller now has the right to negotiate that fee. That seller can come back and say, okay, you know what? I don't want to pay your agent 3%. I'm giving him 2%. What now? Because you have an agreement with your agent to pay him 3%. In that case, and what we are seeing a lot of time is you are negotiating with your agent again, because what can happen? Yes, you still don't pay your agent if you change the terms in your agreement, or your agent is capable enough to boost that 1% in the seller offer, so seller still pays 3% to your agent. Otherwise, you may have to cover 1% to your agent, or your agent can lower his fee on the buyer representation agreement, which is completely fine. So if he originally wrote down 3% in your buyer rep agreement, and seller now wants to pay him 2% instead of 3%, if you really like your agent, you can cover that 1%. But most of the time, if that is a really, really, really crucial number, and it's a deal breaker, most of agents are going to just cut off that 1%, help you buy your perfect home, and move on. However, there are really good agents that can negotiate that 1% with the seller. The seller will still agree to pay full 3% to your agent. Hopefully I made this clear, because there's a lot of, I would say, misunderstanding about this buyer representation agreement. People don't want to sign it because they think they're going to get, attached permanent to their agent. Not at all. But we're going to cover that in the next step. So next step, as I mentioned again, is a buyer representation agreement. And I'm going to go through here, and you're going to see it on the screen. What are we talking about? So this is the regular EXP buyer representation agreement. It contains a couple of pages, and it's really straightforward. You can see here, this one works for buying and renting, but we're going to focus only on buying part. First, as you can see, properties. Of course, we are a buyer, right? And we can go over it again. We can put the area at all, like let's say, I'm going to put a Virginia. Okay. Length of agreement. This is very important part. Length of agreement means how long this agreement will be active. Keep in mind that also can be canceled anytime. Like, we do not hold our clients hostage if they want to cancel the work with us anymore. It's completely fine, and there is no cancellation fee. It can be done anytime. Just send us an email to us, our broker, and that's it. We are done. What we usually do here is, if you're really motivated to buy, we can do 30 days, right? And as soon as we get into the contract, this agreement is voided, like doesn't count anymore. So once when we have a ratified contract, this agreement is void. That main agreement, main contract becomes active. So let's say here, just for a presentation purpose, so we can put 60 days, but it goes actually a date here, right? Okay. And there are some disclosures, as you can see. Broker is here mentioned as well for best experience. And this is also important part, like, do you already have some agent? Probably not, right? So we're not going to put anything. Client is not part of any active buyer tenant broker representation. And if you are, they put a number, but that's never a case. So we're just going to leave it empty. And you can see here that you agree to work exclusively with the broker and not with other real estate professionals. So you're signing an agreement with us or whoever is showing you this. The next page is a broker fee and some other text that we can go through. Basically, this says that if you are enter into a different agreement with different agent after cancellation with ours, you own us a fee. So we don't usually put anything here, but let's say just for the sake of this video, we can put 15 days. Okay, the fee. The broker fee is how much? So again, we are just doing the purchase, right? We're not doing the rental. So we do this. And that's what I mentioned at the beginning. Usually the rate is from 2 to 3%, right? We always try higher rate, and then we can negotiate if needed. So let's say now you're going to put 3% of the gross purchase price. And everything else is, as I mentioned, collecting a broker fee from the seller or the landlord. Client may choose to negotiate that the broker fee be paid in a whole or in a part by seller landlord through the credit to the client at closing or lease signing, right? However, as I mentioned, you are not paying anything if your agent is capable enough of negotiating this fee with the seller's agent and the seller. If anything happens and they don't want to pay, then he can come back and negotiate with you, and it's completely your choice to accept covering that 1 or 0.5% or not. And there's some additional terms here. Most of them they're just leave it empty. You know that I work with the multiple buyers. And cancellation, this is very important part here. Cancellation basically says that you can cancel this agreement at any time. It's a mutual agreement, of course. We're never going to say no. If you are under contract at a time of cancellation, broker compensation remains due in accordance with the terms of the agreement. So, if we are in the contract and everything is working smoothly, you can cancel, but we are still going to get paid because we are helping you with that home and we are already into the ratified contract. This never happens. Agents never get fired once when the contract is ratified and everything is working smoothly. At least it didn't happen on our end. And here are signatures. So your name, and if you have a co-signer or co-buyer, and this is my name and my broker name. So once it is all signed, this agreement becomes valid. So as you can see, it's very simple. It's a 3-page paper agreement, and it just has a couple of fields to be filled out and signed. So it's nothing scary, and very important, it can be canceled at any time. So what comes after this? After this, it's a home tour, right? So, and searching for homes. But let's assume that you already have some homes that you saw on Zillow or wherever, or we sent you the alert after this agreement is signed, and we saw a couple of homes and you really like one. Let's go to the walk tour now, but we're going to use the online portal, and we're going to use our website in this case. I chose this property because I really like it, and it's located in Arlington. It does have a really high price tag. It's $2.75 million, but it has the 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bath. It's 6,200 square feet, and it's really nice. As you can see, it's not prolonged in the market. I'm sure they're gonna get multiple offers for this property. We can go to the pictures. I believe this home also has a virtual tour. It's very nicely staged. Highly possible these are the owner furniture still inside. When it comes to the homes done like this, if you're a really motivated buyer, and if there are really multiple offers, we are recommending to offer at asking price, of course, if our research shows that this house is priced accordingly, right? And once that's done, we're going to go into inspection, we're going to go into the appraisal, and so on. So next step would be sending an offer with a pre-approval letter from your lender, or if you're buying cash. And you can see all that in our other video. So if you need any help with all this process, feel free to let us know, comment, or send us a message.